Welcome to our virtual job fair. All right, so CTA's mission statement is to deliver quality, affordable transit service that links people, jobs, and communities. So one great thing that I love about CTA is that we are a service to many, many different communities. All right, so a quick overview of the CTA. So CTA has roughly 10 to 11,000 employees, both union and non-union positions. We serve the Chicagoland area as well as 35 suburban areas. We have 130 bus routes, 8 rail lines, and then you'll see towards the bottom some other locations that we have. Headquarters where Human Resources was located, 7 bus garages, that's where the mechanics and bus operators operate out of. And then the rail terminals, that's where some of our CSA and flaggers operate out of. And then different locations, numerous locations around the city. All right, so now we'll go over a quick overview of the bus mechanic position, sorry. All right, so the bus mechanic position is a full-time permanent position. The salary for the position is $29.82 an hour, comes with full benefits, 5 months of paid training. Now, towards the bottom, you'll see where it says location assignments and shifts. So CTA is a seniority-based company, so starting out, you wouldn't be able to pick your garage or your shift. There is 3 shifts, first, second, and third. With seniority, you will be able to have more control of that and will be able to pick your garage. All right, so what we look for is the ideal bus mechanic. So our bus mechanics work on 1,800 or more buses. We're looking for someone who has basic mechanical skills as well as training. Our bus mechanics, well, one way important thing about CTA is safety. So we're definitely looking for individuals that take safety serious. We're looking for someone who's an excellent problem solver, who's punctual, flexible, and is a team player. Now, towards the bottom, you'll see the requirements for the position. Applying for the position or interviewing, you won't actually need the commercial driver's license or the commercial learner's permit. However, if you are selected to move forward with the position, you will need one of the other. So you will need either, again, the CDL, commercial driver's license, or CLP, which is the commercial learner's permit, also with both passenger and air brake endorsements. And you'll have to take the general knowledge assessment as well. This can be obtained at either the Elk Grove Village or the South Holland DMVs. All right, so now we're going to show you a pretty cool video about our training center.
Hello, my name is Oscar Sanchez. I am an instructor for the Chicago Transit Authority's Bus Maintenance Training Center. I'm here today to provide an overview of the many facets of training conducted here at the training center. I would also like to showcase the types of training and support we provide to the CTA and its workforce. First, let's begin with the fact that the CTA is one of the largest transit properties in the nation. We provide transit service to our customers 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Along with being one of the nation's largest providers of public transportation, it requires that we must always be at the top of our game and ready to meet as well as keep pace with the ever-changing high-tech world. Although the quality and comfort is important, our number one priority is the safety of our employees and passengers. The Chicago Transit Authority uses diverse state-of-the-art equipment. Our bus maintenance technicians and mechanics must be trained and show proficiency on the latest in transit technology. Each bus technician and mechanic is required to complete training at the training center and pass a series of written and practical exams to prepare them for their roles. The training curriculum and course components taught are necessary to maintain, repair, as well as update our transit fleet and its systems on CTA buses. PLC systems include various types of logic and logic controls, which are at the forefront of our bus electrical systems. Each technician is intensely trained in these systems prior to earning his or her qualification and certification. Now let me caution you, each student must perform at every level inspections and properly diagnose using calibrated test equipment. The challenge doesn't stop with electrical systems. We also incorporate the latest in pneumatic technology, which spans several complete air system types and configurations. And these systems include ABS, ATC, suspension, and auxiliary controls. Pneumatic training also deals with components that function with pressurized or compressed air. Now, while safety is essential to equipment repair, diagnosis and/or inspections are extremely vital. We also provide in-depth hybrid training. Much of CTA's fleet has been updated with fuel-efficient hybrid buses. We have a live hybrid mock-up that was built at our very own training facility. Because it has all functioning attributes of the actual bus, this training mock-up has proven to be an amazing training aid. The Chicago Transit Authority's latest addition to our fleet is the introduction of the all-electric bus. This new bus has a zero-emission drivetrain, which is extremely important to the air quality and ultimately helps to maintain our environment. We provide the training for this updated technology from the ADA certified ramp at the front of the bus to engine powertrain at the rear of the bus. It's all covered here at the Bus Maintenance Training Center. If this is a path or career that interests you, perhaps we will see you here one day. My name is Oscar Sanchez, and thank you for watching.
All right, so now we will talk about our hiring process. All right, so how to apply. So any position that you want to apply for at the CTA, you would need to first create a profile or go to our transitchicago.com/careers. Here is one thing really important that you want to keep in mind is that you're using an email that you typically check on a regular because we typically reach out via email. Also, just a suggestion not to create duplicate profiles. If you are having some type of issues with your profile, we can definitely get the password reset for you, but just keeping that same profile. And it's optional to add a resume, but we highly suggest that you add a resume for whatever position it is you are applying for. Right, so credential review. So here's just a few questions applicants like yourself may ask yourself. So do I qualify for this job? Do I have the years of experience or degree or certification requirement? For this particular job, it does not require a degree, but certifications are a plus. Another question you may have or ask to yourself, is my resume current? Do I need to upload a new one? And have I applied for CTA jobs in the past? So if you have applied for some of our jobs in the past and your resume more so reflects those particular positions opposed to this one, you may want to go ahead and make sure your resume is current and it reflects, whatever position that you are applying for. Also, another thing you want to keep in mind, do you have a valid driver's license? So this position is a position where you will be operating the bus. So moving the bus back and forth, you definitely would need a valid driver's license. So just keep that in mind as well. All right, so now we'll go over our testing process. So this particular position does require both a written and practical exam. So if you are invited to the written exam, you would take it here at our headquarters, and it's called a written exam, but it's really an online general assessment. If you successfully pass the written exam, then you would be invited to the practical exam. The video that we showed you of the training center, that's actually where you would take the practical exam, which is a hands-on assessment where we're testing your mechanical skills. Now here at the bottom, you'll note some testing policies. So passing scores are valid for 3 years, and then failed scores, you will have to wait a year to retest. Right, so our phone and video interview process. This particular position doesn't require 2 interviews, so we're not doing phone interviews. We did used to conduct our interviews in person, but due to the pandemic, we are now using a platform called Zoom, and we conduct video interviews. So with the interview process, you would interview with either myself or another recruiter, as well as the hiring managers for the position. The interviews take roughly 25 to 30 minutes. What we mainly focused on is your work history, educational skills, certifications, and then towards the end, we go through situational questions where we basically want you to give us your real life experience, kind of walk us through what the situation was, what your actions were, and then what the outcome was. All right, so just a few tips about phone and video interviews. Again, just making sure that you are reviewing the job description, knowing what the job entails before you actually apply for the position, before you're actually interviewing for the position. Again, we use a platform called Zoom to conduct the interview. So just making sure that you test your connection, make sure your video and your audio, all of that is working, making sure you're in a quiet place where it's minimal distractions, wearing appropriate clothing, at least from the top up, and present yourself being polite and being professional. And lastly, provide answers that demonstrate your work experience, because that's definitely what we're looking for. We want to know more about your work experience. All right, so our pre-employment process. So anyone that applies for any position at CTA, if they pass required testing, if they are being selected to move forward with the position, requires the pre-employment process, which is a medical, drug test, a physical test, as well as a background check. We run 3 different background checks. This particular position doesn't require employment or education verification. However, some of our positions does require that. The pre-employment process typically takes anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. All right, so CTA benefits. One of the best things about CTA, you can ride the train and buses for free, ride pays for free. We offer 401k. Pension. We have different opportunities where there is professional development. So it's definitely room for growth at CTA. It's all up to you. All right, so follow us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where you can find out more about jobs that we're posting, different cool things that we do in the community. So be sure to follow us on LinkedIn. All right, everyone, I want to thank you so much for participating in our virtual job fair today. We hope to receive your application and able to review your resume soon. I'm handing it back over to Lindsay. Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks so much, Jamie. So yeah, now we're going to go on to our question and answer session. If you do have questions, take some time now to drop them in the chat box, send them to Q&A CTA. We definitely want to hear what your questions are. If there's more information you need about the application process, if there's something about CTA in general you want to know, if there's a question about, again, the day-to-day work that a bus mechanic goes through, or even the training. I know that there are, the training that we offer is extensive. We offer, as Jamie said, 5 months of paid training. So maybe you're curious about what that looks like. Although Oscar gave a really great description in the video that we showed. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Delon, who's been monitoring our questions, and ask her to share some of those questions and responses.
All right. To start, one of the questions is, can the bus maintenance department just go over more about kind of the day-to-day? What is there a typical day-to-day, or what does a week look like in the position?
Great. Bob or Chris, would one of you be willing to answer that?
Yeah, sure, I can take that one. So it's working for CTA is a little bit different than working, say, at a car dealership or at an independent shop. The goal every shift is to it's a term called making schedule. So each garage has approximately 300 buses at it that reside there, and let's say 275 of them need to be out on the street at a specific moment in time at a specific place. So by the end of your shift, those 275 buses need to be out. So that gives you about 25 spares, but sometimes, especially in this cold weather that we've just had, sometimes you don't have the 275 ready at the beginning of the shift that you need. So say there's 265 buses ready. So that means the crew has to get 10 more buses ready and then fix whatever else goes down during the course of the shift. In order to make that schedule in the morning. So that's the day-to-day goal every day for CTA bus maintenance. As far as the types of repairs that you would do, so based on we need those X amount of buses ready to go by the morning or by the afternoon. So it's more or less what's down and what can be repaired within these 8 hours would be the short story of how to sum this up, I think. Bob, do you got anything to add that I may have missed?
Just adding in the fact that there's, one side of the garage is going to be working busy doing inspections. On the other side of the garage, there's an area called Trouble Track where we could do some quick repairs to get buses as they pull in to the garage. There's quite a variety of jobs based upon your training and your skill level. You can pick different jobs like heating and air conditioning, or work specifically on engines or on radio or on signs. So there's also some specialty positions in the garages as well.
All right, thank you all. Another question is, are we background friendly? And I can answer that. So we do look at everyone's record on a case-by-case basis. So the HR department will look at the entire record before making a decision. Another question is, hang on. Do I need a Cdo Class B for this position?
I can answer that. Well, obviously, you need the permit to start with, which is basically the written test, and HR department will let you know when you would need to apply for that. As far as the B class CDL driver's license, once you're hired with the company, you'll be trained by the CTA. I have a third-party endorsement with the state of Illinois. So once our instructors, bus operations instructors, deem you qualified to have a CDL, then they will sign the certificate that you would bring to the DMV, and then they would convert your license to a CDL. And again, you would be paid for that training as well.
Okay, wonderful. And what does the practical consist of for this position?
Okay, so the practical consists of it's 3 areas. There's there's some electrical troubleshooting skills. They're not very difficult. We just want to make sure that people coming in have basic electrical troubleshooting skills. We have a small item that we have a mechanical item. I can't give away too much of it, so I have to be vague or specifically vague. Let's say we have an item that we have. The applicants take apart and put back together. There's instructions on each step, and maybe 10 or 12 steps to take this item apart, and then the same reverse 10 or 12 steps to put it back together. And like I said, we give you instructions. So that's just to make sure that you can use tools properly and follow instructions as if they were written in a manual. And also we have, we will take you over to an engine, and we will ask you some general questions about that engine. And that's pretty much it.
And a tool identification as well.
Correct. Sorry.
All right. Some more questions coming in. Great questions. What would you say are the biggest challenges for this position or in this position?
Well, biggest challenges are, I think just basically it's getting over the fact that, not many people come in with having transit experience. So I started out as a mechanic 27 years ago. And, when I originally went to school, I thought I would be working on cars, and then this opportunity came along. So just the idea, I think in the beginning, is just the idea of because the bus is such a big vehicle, that was a little bit intimidating for me at first. But it's like anything else. Once you do have a good amount of training to start you out with it, to get you comfortable and acclimated to your surroundings. So I think that's the biggest thing. Just, the idea of working on a bus as opposed to working on a car, but that does, you get over that pretty fast.
I'd like to add some of the challenges, especially I know out in the garages the last few weeks, the weather is a big challenge, right? A couple of our garages are storing their vehicles outdoors. So those are the really, some trying times when the garage and everybody that works there really comes together to make sure that we do make that schedule. So, and as Chris mentioned, that another challenging thing is there's a lot of safety items, safeties built into the bus that are not built onto other vehicles. So learning about those specific transit safety things like our bus interlock and the different safeties for the door systems, and knowing that when you're doing an inspection on one of these vehicles, and that same vehicle could be carrying your neighbor's kids to school or your parents to the doctor. So making sure that the challenge is to really make sure safety is that number one priority.
Excellent. A couple more questions. Can you all talk about opportunities for advancement a little bit?
Yes, CTA is definitely the land of opportunity if you want it to be. There's, I could go on and on. There's a million success stories. One of my favorites, though, is there is a general manager who recently retired, started out sweeping buses. So after a few years of doing that, he was a bus servicer. He became a bus mechanic. And there's training programs for for these positions to advance up. After that, he became a foreman. He was a foreman for a few years in the garage. Then he advanced up to what's called a regular manager. That's my level. Then he advanced up to senior manager. That's Mr. Stucco's level. And then after that, he had advanced to a general manager. So a senior manager is in charge of an entire location. A general manager is in charge of multiple locations. So like, again, CTA is a land of opportunity if you want it to be. There's a million stories like that. The current one I could give you is our chief transit officer, Mr. Bonds. He started out as a bus mechanic and worked his way all the way up to the top. He answers directly to the president of the company.
Excellent. And then can you talk a little bit about tools? Does CTA provide a base set of tools, or are employees required to purchase their own?
Yes, CTA does supply 241 mechanics with a set of tools and a toolbox. So you do not need to bring any of your own stuff. You can if you want to, but just again, being in that position for a number of years, I would advise, you'll be issued the toolbox and a set of tools. I would use those tools in the beginning. You may decide there's a couple of your tools you may want to bring with you as you get used to working here. And my impact gun might be a little stronger than the one that they gave me, so I'm going to want to bring that. A couple of things, but for the most part, CTA provides you everything that you need, especially all of the specialty tools for all the diagnosing and the really large tools that you're going to need. CTA provides everything.
Yeah, each location has a bench room where we have those specialty items that can be signed out and used, and they're available for everyone in the garage.
Bob, that reminds me of a good point. Actually, here's another benefit to CTA providing you the tools. So that bench room that Bob just mentioned. So if you break a tool, instead of having to either go to Sears and replace it, through their warranty, or like if you're in a shop now, you have to wait for, if you break the tool today, a Snap-on tool today, and the Snap-on man was here yesterday, now you have to wait another week for him to come back before you can have him change it out for you. the bench room is open every day. So if you happen to, break a tool, you can bring it right into the bench room, and then they'll replace it for you right there on the spot. And it doesn't cost you. You're not wasting any time waiting for a tool man to come back, and you don't have to waste any of your own time, going to the hardware store or going to Sears to have it replaced.
All right. A few more questions came in. Why do you enjoy working for the CTA?
I enjoy working for the CTA because it has it's provided it's provided just many of options over the years. If you remember some of the things that were mentioned in the beginning, as far as choosing your shift and your location, you get to do that every 2 years by seniority, and you move up in seniority fast. Because people stay here a long time because it is a great job. It's a great opportunity, and then people retire every month, and then that's how your seniority goes up. So, so if you want to move, if you say maybe you have kids and you need somebody to be home with them during the day, the next time there's a pick, you can choose to work nights so you can have somebody home during the day to do that. It just gives you a lot of options and a lot of flexibility to be able to live your life. Would be one aspect. Bobby, add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I would add that being an employee of the CTA is an important role in the city of Chicago. You're contributing to our ability to really operate our city. But I'd say, other than the buses and the trains, my favorite thing about working here is the people that I've met along my journey. I've been here for 20 plus years, and I've met some people who really impacted my life in some very positive ways, and I've had opportunity to grow and seize that opportunity along the way. So I'd say the best thing about the CTA is the employees.
Excellent. And you started to talk about this a little bit when you were talking about the pick, but the question is, will I get to choose my shift?
Yes, you get to choose your shift by seniority on average twice a year. There's a pick right before Thanksgiving, traditionally, when you would pick your shift, and that would last until about Easter. And then there's another pick right before Easter, and then that would last through the summer months into the fall again. And then every 2 years, and like I said, there's 7 different locations that are scattered throughout the city. There's roughly there's about 3 of them that are north. There's 2 central and 2 south, and so every 2 years you get to choose one of those based on your seniority.
But it is important to note that when you're hired, you're going to be placed into whatever a vacant position that the CTA has available, and then you'll have to wait until there's a pick for you to be able to pick by seniority.
Okay. Another question, what additional skills like languages, et cetera, might be valuable for a candidate?
I don't know, Chris, would you want to take that one? I mean, just being able to navigate through manuals and being able to read wiring diagrams, I think is kind of critical. But we're going to give you a lot of those skills and things to read here at the training center once you're onboarded. Can you think of anything else, Chris?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of to add in addition to what you said as far as electrical schematics, we also have pneumatic schematics that will train you. So that's another similar to electrical, but kind of a different animal.
Are there any positions in your area that are on call or 24/7 positions?
Well, not within the union. Once you get into upper management, I believe it's general managers and above are on call, or can be on call, I should say.
Okay, and then there was a question about how do we find out about more job fair video calls in the future? Lindsay, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. One of the best ways to do that, to find out what we have upcoming, is to Follow us on LinkedIn. That's where we post all of our, we post all the fairs that we're going to be doing. We do typically do one about once a month, but then you might see us pop up with different community partners. We work a lot with some of the different city colleges around Chicago. Olive Harvey is one that we work with quite frequently, that I know has a bus mechanic program. We'll do some general things with other groups like the Chicago Urban League. So you could see us pop up a lot of places, but CTA hosted job fairs, we're always going to post about those on LinkedIn and also our Facebook page. So follow us on those social media channels, and that's where you'll get the most up-to-date information.
Okay, and it looks like there's maybe just one more so far. Oh, nope. There's more that have come in, but I'll ask this one first. How do I check the status of my application? So I can answer that one. You can log into your candidate portal and see the status of any position that you've applied for. So as Jamie mentioned during the presentation, a lot of our communication happens through email. So we will follow up about next steps once we've had a chance to review your application, review your qualifications and your application, but you can always check the status of your application or any active application that you have in our candidate portal. Another question, not sure if anybody knows this, but are there lots of UTI students that have been hired in the past? Is that a common place where you see candidates from?
Yes, well, back in the day when we were able to do in-person career fairs, I would do career fairs at UTI and at Lincoln Tech as well. And we definitely like to hire from both of those schools because the graduates coming out of those schools have pretty strong electrical troubleshooting skills, and that's the basis of what we need here more than anything else with the way the fleet is going.
Excellent. And then one more question. Is this a union job? Can you talk a little bit more about the union part of this?
Sure. Yes, it is a union job. This mechanics position is in Amalgamated Transit Union Local 241. The union definitely does do a good job fighting for the employees I shouldn't say fighting for, representing the employees, make sure that their compensation is definitely competitive, and usually it's above and beyond. Whenever I've gone to these career fairs, I don't think anybody was offering more per hour than the CTA was. And then in addition to that, within 2 years, that's 80% of what full salary is. So within 2 years, then you'll be at full pay. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I want to say it's $36 and change per hour. But where I'm going with that with the union is that not too long ago, it was set up to where the employees would come in at 50% of the pay. And I think it took 3.5 years or 4 years to get up to full salary. And so the union negotiated in order for the employees to start at 80%, and then within 2 years they would be at top pay. So that's just a indication of how good the union is for the employees.
And one other thing, the bus operators are also in that Amalgamated Transit 241 union. So you've got a pretty good large base of representation here in the CTA.
Okay, another question that came through. Where can I send my resume? So actually, if you are looking at the screen, there is the website where you can go and look at our open jobs, as well as submit either a profile or an application for the position. So transitchicago.com/careers. That's where you can submit an application, review all open positions. The bus mechanic position is currently posted and accepting applications. So if you have not submitted an application and you are interested and qualified to do so, you're welcome and invited to submit an application on our website. And then again, check in your candidate portal for the status of those applications. So that is how you can make sure that you attach your resume to your profile so that you can be reviewed when you apply for a position. Let's see. I think someone asked about Are there other roles we hire for too? I think is the question. So again, if you check out our transitchicago.com/careers, you can see all of the vacant positions that we have. Every Friday, we post new jobs, so you can make it a point to either check back on our website on a weekly basis, or you can also sign up, again, create a candidate profile and sign up for alerts through through your candidate profile so that you're notified every time there is a position that fits the interest that you have.
And I would add, if I could add something real quick,
Please do.
I would add that when you look at that careers page and you look specifically at the bus mechanic job post, it's going to give you a whole list of requirements or a whole list of skills that we're looking for. So I know that there was a question before about like what things, what skills we want you to have when you're applying. That's a really good starting place. So if you're looking at that, you're looking at the job description and you're saying like, I can do that, I can do that. That's a really good indicator that this could be a really good fit for you. So definitely check out the job description itself for what we're really, really looking for in that position. That's where you're going to get some really specific answers.
All right, another question for our bus maintenance team is, can you talk a little bit more about where are some of the work locations? Where might someone be assigned to work?
Sure. So there's like, again, there's 7 bus garages. I'll give you the locations from north to south. The garage that is furthest north is called Forest Glen. That's basically at Elston and Central, so 5600 north and 5600 west. The next one would be North Park. That's at Foster and Kedzie. The next one is Chicago Avenue Garage. That is basically at Chicago Avenue and Pulaski. The next one is Kedzie Garage. That is located at Kedzie and Harrison. The next one is 74th Street. That is basically 74th and Wood or 74th and Ashland would be the closest major intersection. Then the next one is 77th Street Garage, which is roughly 79th and just a little bit west of the Dan Ryan. Or I'm sorry, on Vincennes, 77th and Vincennes. And then the furthest south is 103rd Street Garage, which is at 103rd and Stony Island.
And then our training center where you'll be at for your initial training is at 89th and Woodlawn.
Okay, another quick question is, what if my only experience with diesel engines is on light diesels from UTI's program?
That's fine, because again, you remember earlier Mr. Stucco mentioned that there's certain specialty positions in the garages, and working on the engines is one of those specialty positions. All of our engines are Cummins engines, and we have an instructor here who came from Cummins. So if you're interested in working on engines here, then you'll sign up for that on that site. You'll ask to be put into that training. We'll train you, and then you'll be engine qualified then to work on those. But just the fact that you have some diesel experience to begin with will definitely help you with that. Bob, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, just that we have the Cummins engine qualification class is broken up into 2 parts. There's one part where you're going to learn at your own pace in a computer lab and go through different modules that Cummins engine put together. And then we have a hands-on 4-day class where you'll actually go out and with an instructor on an engine in the bay and also on a bus, be able to do that engine work. So we'll make sure that you have the skills to do that before you complete your training.
All right, well, I think that concludes all of our question and answers for this session. I'll pass it back to Lindsay.
Hey, actually, can I add just one more thing? And I was mentioning about the hourly, the pay earlier, the hourly rate. So that is an hourly rate. It is 40 hours. It's not booking hours. So those of you that may have come from a dealership where you had to book hours, and if it was slow, you didn't necessarily get your 40 hours, and maybe you had to take the guarantee, which is usually somewhere around 32 hours. And maybe you're there for 40 or more. So that's not going to be the case with CTA. You'll be here for 40 hours, and for those 40 hours of work, you will be paid 40 hours. That's it.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Bob, any last notes from you that you want people to know or leave them with?
I guess the final thing that we should probably let everyone know is if you want to become an essential worker, this is a great way to do it. And then CTA also is prioritizing the vaccine for its 11,000 employees. So that's just something else to keep in the back of your mind. I look forward to seeing you for the testing and the training if you're interested in the position.
Great, thank you. So thank you for everybody attending today. Thank you especially to Bob and Chris, our special guests, and all the knowledge that you brought to this session. I think this was a great, one of our most robust question and answer sessions that we've had. So really appreciate everybody's great questions and the great answers. Again, you can apply to this job today. It is available now. It's open on our career site. So take a look if it's something that you want to pursue. Go ahead, fill out an application. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at CTA Careers. CTA Careers at transitchicago.com. But we're really thankful that you joined us today, and we wish you the best of the luck in the future. Thank you so much.